so annoying, then it
We're
wouldn't,
on.
then it wouldn't report,
Okay,
I mean, print.
I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 5:11
11.
PM. And I'd like a motion to accept the proposed agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Second.
One
Tony?
amendment, there's no governance report today.
Okay. Scratch the governance report. Then I won't be perplexed to figure out what it was.
Sorry.
And now I need a motion to consider the minutes of the March 4th meeting.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, same two. All right, any additions, deletions, questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. The minutes on March 4th are approved. Any correspondence?
No,
Treasurer's report?
none,
Okay, is that because it's too early?
yes.
So do we have an audit report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
here it is.
yeah, the audit, everybody has a copy of, the audit report. We met with, the auditors and, all the policies are in place and everything checked out in the audit report.
All right.
So I'd like to, make a motion to recommend the audit with minor amendments of typos and the associated reports and policies without changes to the board for approval.
So move.
Okay.
Corrections.
Motion?
That was a committee moved with amendments. The amendments have been made and they are in the audit now, so you're
All right, we
probably.
need a second on this motion.
You
Is
did,
there any further discussion?
Tony seconded.
Okay. So you got that, the changes, only for the preliminary. All right, well, that's good to hear. Unexpected, may I add. So all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, that's carried. Thank you, thank you. Old business, any?
No,
We're gonna move on to, Roman numeral 8, and we're gonna go to C and D. And those are considerations for authorizing submission of a grant to National Grid, and then the follow-up. So Tracy and/or Dick, would you just re-explain why they're there and what we're doing? Even though we can read that stuff, I prefer to hear it from
sure.
a person who has been involved longer than I.
So it came to my attention that we could apply for a grant through National Grid for marketing and to potentially upgrade the website or marketing materials. And it's a $50,000 matching grant. It is on a reimbursable basis. And when you do the grant, you have to show sources and uses. Our uses will be for the marketing and for the data for that marketing. The grant's through the Cooperative Business Recruitment Program. And the source we're going to use is actually the funds that the town of Riverhead will be using to pay for the strategic plan.
Tracy, what is the match on that?
It's a $50,000 match.
Oh,
We
so
can
it's
get up-
100% match?
It's
Is that what
a
you're saying?
one-to-one match.
1-to-1, so you
Okay.
gotta ask for
So
100, but you're only gonna get 50.
Correct.
Okay.
Did I say that right? You want to come up? You can come up now. It's just-
Yeah, why don't you come up here?
Because Dawn and I are doing this collectively, but it has to be made through our agency,
Because you're the Regional Economic Development Agency.
so they
Okay.
say.
So we will get the grant
Correct.
funds if we're approved by National Grid.
Correct.
We will presumably contribute to the TOD,
Yeah, but that's.
but that's separate?
Mm-hmm.
But it will fall, it will be a qualified expense
Correct.
under the grant parameters.
Correct.
Right. And so then the other funding will be used for marketing of that particular location
No,
or
our overall.
more broadly?
Right, there are some, new requirements with AOB, ABO, that we need to upgrade our website a little bit,
Right.
put some more data on it, et
Yeah, we've been talking
cetera.
about wanting to
And
do
the-
that for a while.
And the data came to the rep's attention that we can use that data in our website, so it's a reimbursable expense,
Okay. Is
if we
there-
get it.
Right, is there a time frame by
No.
which we have to spend the money?
I asked that too. Right now, what did he say, 2020, but he goes, there'll be an extension?
They extend it.
So it's 2020 is the original?
Right, he didn't give me the month.
Can be
He said their
extended.
program usually gets renewed.
Right.
All right, let's,
So-
let's make motions of these. They're,
So that
kind
was
of,
just the explanation.
matching, so we'll do it at the same time or separately?
Okay, so they're separate.
All right. So I need a motion to open resolution 2319 for further discussion.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Need a second?
I'll second.
All right, anything else you gotta say?
No.
All right, now let me ask this question. So it's 100,000, 1-to-1, so we get 50 if we make the grade.
Correct,
And it comes to the Riverhead IDA,
correct.
and
Yep.
that's dispersed according to the second one.
No,
All right, well, let me stay here. So are we looking for 75,000 or are we looking for 100?
we're going to submit a budget of 100,000, hopefully.
For other things besides this?
Right.
Okay.
The plan with the town of Riverhead is $75,000,
Mhm.
and $25,000 we'll put in the use to apply for this grant, is to pay for the study
Mhm.
and to pay for upgrading website for $25,000. So that
Okay.
equals the 100.
Okay, well,
That's
my,
the use.
but my stuff tells me, my addition tells me that you got 50 if you get from
Right.
the National Grid. You got 6,500 from us. Where else is the money?
Right, forget the 6250. It's not, it doesn't play in this resolution.
Good.
As far as the grant
This
is,
is my question.
as far as the grant's concerned, we're applying for $50,000 grant,
Okay,
reimbursable. So if I spend 25,000, they'll reimburse 25,000. If I spend 50,000, they'll reimburse 50,000,
okay.
if we're allocated that.
This is grid,
This is grid.
right.
Within that application, I have to show them what we're using the money for.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna show them that we're using it for marketing, a website, for $25,000. And I'm gonna show them that we're using it to collect data to the tune of $75,000, the cost of the study.
Okay.
That's my $100,000 use.
Projected use.
That's the project.
That's the project.
It's a $100,000 project.
Correct, right.
Could I explain it simpler?
So
Well,
if
I'm
it's,
not there yet.
Yeah,
If you-
Mainly, it's,
do it-
it's $100,000 from here, from here, from here, from here. Where do the components come? I've got 50,000, and
so,
where's the rest of it?
so the study's 100,000, the grant is 50, so you
Mhm.
need 50 for the match.
Right.
The 50 for the match is coming from the town of Riverhead.
Ah.
We are using 50,000 town funds to match the TOD grant, but we can use that match, we're gonna double dip on that match. And because you guys are gonna contribute $6,250 to the town to offset some of our expenses, now we're partnering on that match, so we can use that match again for National Grid. So we're taking the 50,000 match that we're using for the TOD study, and we're gonna use it twice.
Now I got it.
And that's okay with
Yeah.
National Grid in terms of their
Well, we hope
requirements?
so.
So we're double leveraging our money,
Okay,
which is,
That's the intent.
Which makes sense in a way, because the study is important for both purposes.
exactly.
Right,
So the study is important to develop the transportation hub in its own right, and the study is important to develop and leverage the data that you need to learn how to market your,
correct.
your
There's-
community, so
Mhm.
it,
Right.
it's the same.
There's a data component to the proposal that the town is, for the TOD study,
Mhm.
and that data component will be useful to your study, so
Right.
it's good stuff.
Any more questions?
There's no
Oh.
cash outlay from the IDA
Okay.
unless we do the
Okay.
website.
Yep.
and then it's reimbursed.
which would be a
Except
good
the
use of the money.
But not
as
yet,
well.
not with regard to this, don't confuse it.
All right, so we ready to decide?
Oh, I make a motion to accept, participate in this.
Second?
Second, sure.
We have it on the floor already, haven't we? It doesn't matter. Here's a motion, there's a second.
Okay.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? All right, so 2319 is good. It's approved. So now let's go to the next one, 2419, authorizing participation by Riverhead IDA with the Town of Riverhead Community Development Agency to execute the complete transit-oriented development strategic plan.
So in order to apply for this grant and have that grant apply as a source to the funds, we needed to go into an agreement with the Town of Riverhead CDA. And the board had also previously discussed funding $62.50 or a certain amount to the CDA to help pay for that study. So that's what this is for.
Okay?
So this is an agreement that says we're going to pay $62.50.
Correct.
It doesn't have any bearing on whether or not we get the grant. So
Correct.
we're committing the agency
Expenditure,
to
right.
contribute a
Good.
portion of that study that you want to.
How was that portion put together? What were the parameters to just put 6250 instead of?
Well, she wanted
72.50,
12.5.
Yeah.
So,
I was-
you want me
yeah.
to start at the beginning?
Oh,
I can.
No.
No, well, it's
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Please, do that.
So we had, our $75,000 TOD study was supposed to be 50% match. When they gave us the grant, they gave us, instead of 37.5, they gave us 25. So I was short 12.5 on the match. So you guys are coming up with half of that shortfall.
Do you have a place you're getting the other half?
The town's gonna
Town.
pay the other half, yeah.
Which is
That's a
good,
heck of a good deal.
because the last meeting we were at 12.5, now we're at half. You know,
We'll take
we were
whatever
considering
we
that.
can get.
And you don't use it till you use it.
Yeah.
Better hope we do.
And it's a good study.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
would
it should be good.
necessary.
It could lead to leveraging further funds in others, in other rounds of grants. So, the more strategic planning we have and the more things that we're doing, we can use them to show that we are, serious about how we're investing in downtown and how we wanna move things forward, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
you're thinking of the incentive program application, right?
The downtown revitalization initiative,
that is-
yes.
yeah,
Yes,
initiatives,
that's
right.
the most
That's the $10
important.
million.
That's
Yeah.
the big ticket.
That's the big
Right.
one. If they offer the round, it's not even been announced yet, so.
Yep.
We're hoping in April we'll hear about, that's a $10 million grant that comes from Empire State Development.
Mhm.
And it's all for downtown revitalization, and it's to implement the plans that we have had, that we have been unable to implement for years. So that would be, and if we have strategic pieces of that would show exactly what we wanna do, so we did the strategic parking plan, now we're doing strategic TOD. If we can get that, then we really be cooking with gas.
We're getting there.
We're working on it.
So I'll make a motion, what's the resolution number? 24, to approve, 24-29.
I'll second.
Actually, that should be 19, shouldn't it?
This is, here
Well,
it
it was.
says-
Yes, it
That
should.
changed? Okay.
2419.
Oh, so
Oh,
this is
yes, thank you.
wrong. Okay, so 2419.
I did it even on the agenda.
I don't have.
All right, any further discussion?
I just think it's a great opportunity and a
Let's
perfect
say 19.
example of partnering together with the town and with the IDA for moving toward the realization of a strategic plan in a really, a part of town that really needs some attention. So I think
For
it's awesome.
Yep, and we really appreciate your participation, because,
I may have gotten the wrong one.
for multiple reasons, because
No,
we
19
just,
on yours?
Well, this is the resolution.
happy to have the funding and happy to
Sorry,
work
Mark,
as,
hang
as collaborators.
And like I said, in such an important piece
Yeah.
that can lead to
Yeah.
so many other opportunities.
Yep,
So it's
agreed.
great. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
all those
you.
in favor, aye.
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 Anybody
Thank you,
opposed?
Dawn.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, it's
See you tomorrow.
approved.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dawn.
Here.
Look forward to working with you and seeing you tomorrow.
Seeing all your awards. very
Yeah.
exciting.
Very good. back to A, new business A. Consideration of ratifying, adopting, and confirming board policies and reports. Resolution 2119.
Make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right.
So these are all the policies that were recommended for approval by the,
By the two committees, the governance committee and the audit
and
committee.
the audit committee.
Okay.
And this is our annual
Yes.
reaffirmation of
Annual,
those.
Once
Right.
again, are there any changes in here from the year before?
You're are you looking at that report, or you just
No,
mean
not
the policies?
No, the policies.
I don't think there were any changes.
No, there were no
Yeah.
recommended
No.
changes
I
from
didn't
the
either.
governance.
Okay, so, we're saying, we're not making any changes. We made a lot of them last year, and we feel comfortable with what's going on.
We did them throughout the year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all right. So I need a motion
We have,
We have motion
and
and
a second? Okay, cool. All those in favor, aye?
aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that takes care of that. Now, the Paris report.
My apologies for getting it so
Well,
late to
just
you.
tell us about it. This
But
is
it's,
early. There's a lot of things going on here.
There's always been some,
Glitches with the system.
yeah.
But when is this needed?
So it
When
has to be submitted by the 31st.
31st.
There will likely be some minor amendments between today and the 31st with regard to job numbers that I'm still seeking out on people to confirm.
I saw that, like, one in particular, that there was zeros there, so
Well,
I
some
figured,
will have zero if they're under construction, some will
Yeah.
have zero. You'll notice on the projects that there's duplicates, phases. The system doesn't work well.
right, it doesn't,
So there may
match
be a
everything.
project carried over there that's almost done, or it is done, but it won't get out of the
Is that
system for another
I
year.
have electronics.
Oh, okay.
You can ask me questions throughout the week, if after reading it more completely, you find something.
I have one question, and maybe you can ask you to, but on the, the term, expiration date, I thought that was resolved, because there's expiration dates in here,
Expiration date, what do you mean?
for the board members' terms.
They have,
Oh, well,
This
so
is just,
that
That's
hasn't
the
been
way it was?
addressed here, so I keep it the same in the Paris report, as is by resolution.
okay,
So I'm not changing
Okay.
anything until by resolution.
just curious, okay.
this was
Good.
curious to me.
I should
I
have been
thought,
fired.
I thought it was laid off or something.
IDA.
This is it?
Okay, so he has not sent in his report
I
yet,
was going to say, that
You
is
wanna give it a check.
a very low number,
Well,
based on the number
and
of.
things are changing there,
wouldn't be able to
but
sleep
I'm
at
still
night.
waiting on his report. That's
Okay.
one of them that has to be,
And then just some of the staff, sometimes it came up no for ex officio, and sometimes, some of the board members, that indication
Oh.
didn't come up, so I wanted to bring that to your
Let me put this
attention.
on the floor before we get into this too far.
Ah.
We don't have a motion, do we?
No, I don't think.
All right, please give me a motion to consider this.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A
I'll second.
All right, now it's on the floor. Let's continue the discussion.
okay?
First of all, let's, I guess I couldn't wait. We don't have this thing complete because of glitches all over the place.
There are
Information that may not be available.
that's one reason.
So in my opinion, we cannot approve this tonight
Okay.
without some sort of contingency that it's approved based on this, but subject to whatever.
Sure, or you can approve it, or we can meet back on the Monday and ratify it, we've done that in the past. I try to get it done and reviewed in substantial form
Mhm.
for the board, prior to the 31st, but you can ratify approval after the fact if you want.
I have a suggestion.
Please.
If you have other business to meet, again, that's fine, but if you were planning on not having another meeting,
Well, that's my basis.
then I think that Tracy normally sends everything around to the board members. And if she sent around any revisions and there was no adverse comment, that would be, so it would be, you would be approving it.
That would be appropriate.
Subject to minor modifications.
Okay.
And if any board member felt that the modifications required address by the board as a whole, then they could ask for that, and that would be. Otherwise, it would just be up to the chairman. You would really be delegating it to the chairman to accept the changes.
What are your thoughts? Which way?
That, I like that way.
I think I'm fine with that.
Which way?
What,
Dick
Up to
said,
the chairman or
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody know?
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
because there are minor changes and there are some things that we
Right.
still don't have, so, you know,
Right.
there's nothing.
There's not gonna be any material
There's nothing
changes, there'll
glaring
be
in
some,
here
No.
that's,
No.
It's still the best
maybe
way to
some
do it.
fluctuation in some final numbers, but
Right.
we wouldn't have any
Right,
saying that it is what it is.
Right.
What's reported to you is what you need to
Right.
reflect on the report, you know,
mhm.
in the system, so.
All right, so, do you, Tracy, want to, put the amendment in there, in that proposal?
Into the resolution?
Yeah, into the
Mhm.
resolution. Short, sweet, and what we've decided to do. And subject to that amendment, we need to do further discussion or decide whether we want to do it or not.
Oh. You wanna put proper language in there somewhere? I mean, it says substantial form, doesn't say final form. And so in Woolworth's case, like in a number of cases, we have some seasonal employment. Ralph's, for instance.
Right.
So I take numbers at the end of the year, which may be 0, but throughout the year they had 8. With Maximus, they go up and down, so they actually had 14 in the middle of summer, and then by the end, they had, 4? So
Talk about, yeah.
it's,
But wouldn't their numbers at Woolworth also reflect the salon and the
yes,
phone?
yeah, they're still, yes.
That's what really,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes, we're still
made me
working on it.
realize this is,
Well,
this
the
can't be
salon
all
actually
those businesses.
downsized. I'm still waiting on them. Maximus was, they're like cyclical.
mhm,
There's also new business there, the Metro,
right.
they haven't reported yet. And Woolworth himself hasn't reported, which is probably 1 just for maintenance of the apartments. And he was
And
waiting
then
on
the
the
flower
other
shop.
ones. And the flower shop, she's always
Right,
on time.
but there's gotta be more than 5 people employed in those businesses, yeah, so that's what made me,
It's not that much greater, but yes.
yeah.
You would think they would want a record of seasonal employment.
Well, they,
Yeah.
they provide for part-time, and, I'll look into it, but so, my report to them, I ask, what was your year-end number? And that's what I take, versus, I asked from the end of last year, I asked how many hires, how many losses, and what's your year-end? I ask full-time, part-time, and full-time equivalent. They don't always complete it all accurately, so I have to recontact, even though I put a description of what full-time equivalent is in the report. It's difficult for some of these smaller mom and pop shops, they're not used to this stuff, so it's belaboring a bit, and when I go and check, oh, that's not what it was, or they just write the same numbers all the way down, and
But
I've gotta decipher.
Dick, the legal obligation though, in this instance, that's that of the beneficiary, if you will. Right? So the business that's been supported by the ADA is legally obligated to provide this information?
Correct, and we have that in our agreement, and that can be an incident of default in
Mhm.
their agreements if they don't report it.
But it doesn't sound like we have too much of a problem with that overall. We get pretty good information?
We get pretty good information, I mean, they submit, but do they complete it accurately? Is there misunderstandings, is there human error? Yes. And then I have to go back and ask them, what does this mean, or verify to the best of my
I
ability.
was gonna say, do we need to verify? Are we
I try to.
But are we obliged to verify in a sense that,
Well, I think Tracy has a reason to feel that it needs to be checked. Perhaps the
Okay.
number is different from the previous year.
Sure.
Call them up and say, hey, look,
Variance.
what happened here? You seem to still be in business, but your number changed, or,
Hmm.
I think.
And once I get final numbers, I'll come back to the board and say, okay, this person dropped, or you'll notice a drop, and we'll go over why. They are required to submit their New York State 45s if it's applicable.
Okay.
But again, New York State 45s can, for some companies, be the entire state. For some companies, include part-times, then I have to go down and say, well, this is a salary of 6,000, that's clearly not a full-time position. So I mean, there's no surefire way, and, you know, they certify the reports, so you hope they're doing it as accurately as they can.
I think else, 'cause we've got to amend this and then re-vote on it.
So I was just gonna suggest, subject to approval by the chairman on email notice to all board members.
Sure.
All right, then, we're going to amend it, so I need a motion to do that.
Make a motion.
Work on the amended motion. Second.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the amended motion?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Then we'll do it that way. Great. Thank you all for that. Yeah. I think I covered everything, right? Yes. Well, economic development didn't cover anything on that. All right, so how about the director's report, the executive director's report?
The only thing I have today, because I've been, you know,
Slammed with this.
Is that the chairman received correspondence from New York State Department of Tax and Finance on a webinar for sales tax. If anyone would like to sit in on the webinar, I will email this, I didn't make copies, but it's next Wednesday at 2:00 in the afternoon. I will be obviously attending it.
I might come by your office.
Okay.
Be curious what they say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
If
what
If they have answers.
because sometimes what they say
They have
isn't
answers, yeah.
always explained well in the
Right.
regulations. said
You
that-
saw that
You said Wednesday?
Wednesday, I believe at 2. Oh, I'm sorry. I will not be watching it at the office. I'm headed into Manhattan for,
Oh, I can
a
tune in on my
training.
own.
which I forgot about. And we're gonna do it there. We arranged to have it done at the attorney's office, but you can sign in.
Are there any other business?
You're gonna email us, right?
I can.
Okay, thanks. I just will check, because I would like to see it, if I can.
Good. Any other business?
No.
All right. Time to adjourn the IDA meeting. Need a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
And all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Do so at,
5:39.
okay. Now, we're going on to the Economic Job Development Corporation. I'll call that meeting to order at,
5:39.
look at,
Come back up.
need a motion to adopt the proposed agenda. Motion, please. Thank you. A second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye? Thank you. Approved. Approval of minutes of January 7th, 2019. That's right, we kept moving that forward, is that correct?
We don't always have an LDC meeting.
Well, I mean, we haven't accepted that yet.
No,
Oh, because we didn't have a meeting. Gotcha. Since then.
correct.
Give me a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion.
I mean, to explore it, okay.
For
Second?
it.
I need a second to put it on the
Second.
floor? All right. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Treasurer's report, none. Audit report, please.
Met with the auditors, and the audit was clean, it was good, and the policies are in place. So there's really nothing to report, everything came up copacetic.
All right, thank you.
You're gonna,
I'll make a motion,
committee recommends.
let me see which one. this-
You just can say the committee recommends to.
Oh, yeah, the
adopt.
committee recommends to adopt the audit report
And policies.
and policies.
All right, so, that, statement and recommendation from the, audit report committee? I need a motion from the board to, put this on the floor. Any motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
This is the big $250 one.
No old business, new business, board policies, any difference in these than the others? Tracy?
No.
So what we're asking for is to approve a resolution adopting and ratifying the same policies that apply to the Economic Job Development Corporation, most of which are the same as the IDA. So give me a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And would you say the Paris report
This
should
one,
get the same treatment?
this one should be complete.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get at it, good. The motion to discuss the Paris report for the Economic Job Development Corporation?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, any questions?
It's just the one project.
Yeah. Now, in the first draft that you were sent, the job numbers didn't stay. The job numbers are put in the draft that you have in your packet.
Good.
They're quite significant, but it's not the same type of reporting. It puts it under the bond section.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there were 60 employees.
Yep.
Okay. That's the only change since the initial draft you got.
Any other questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's good. Any other business? We'll adjourn this meeting at
43.
5:43, okay.
Who did that? Did you motion?
No.
Oh.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Adjourned at 5:43.
Sorry.
That's it, folks. Thank you.
What does that say? In some